The mailbag. My favorite show of the week. We get to hear from you, but I gotta be honest, I'm a little creeped out by what we got going on in the background of the thumbnail with the eyes. Ugh. Psychos and sickos unite for a Keeping Tabs edition of PHNX Suns, coming to you live from Studio A with the return of an old producer today. I'm Eric Ruby, that's Stephen Prejean Garner. We got Gerald Bourget, but filling in for the Juice Man, aka Old Mangled Toes, who has the day off. It's Noah Wolbrecht behind the Mac. He missed us. He had to come back. Hi, Noah.
Hello.
And that was Noah. We appreciate.
Always good to have him back.
Always appreciate Noah. If you miss Noah, he's over on PHNX Cardinals giving them absolute hell. But I know a lot of you in the chat are excited to see him. We're excited to talk to you after a day off. Hope everybody had a good holiday weekend. Nice and relaxing. We've got a lot of questions to get into today, but how are we feeling?
No, not nice and relaxed. My child was a terror this weekend.
Oh, I'm
so
sorry to hear that.
It's okay. We're running on fumes, but we had some good moments this weekend. Stephen, how was your Labor Day weekend?
I was full of watching basketball, so everything was great.
Good.
He's rubbing it in your face.
I know he's Steven's easy to please though. As long as he's got good basketball in front of him, he's usually a happy camper.
Much
Honestly,
easier to
not
please than
even
your
good
baby.
Basketball sometimes.
Just basketball.
Just basketball.
Just
It's
basketball.
Tough to say.
That's true. He made it through the last Sun season and was
Correct.
still happy. So
Correct.
Well, you're going to have to make it through this one. And we are making it through the offseason. Welcome to September, the last full month without Suns basketball. We are getting through this offseason, but you are all a huge help in that. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit the donate button as well. It is Big Brothers Big Sisters month here at All City. We are trying to raise $50,000 across the entire company. Already at $1,000 raised today. Need that PHNX Suns community to come in big and donate for a great cause. Not super chats, but that donate button. So let's just dive right into it, shall we? Let's get into our first mailbag statement from Steve Voss. Not much of a question. Steve says, many players that have something to prove. Jay Green, Book, Williams, Richards, Brooks. We're going to do okay. 40 plus.
thank you, Steve. I appreciate Steve because Steve always contributes to Mailbag Monday, but he more just has takes that he wants to get off instead of questions.
Let's get your take off Tuesday.
There you go.
That's what I like.
Spin on Mailbag Mondays for today.
All right. Well, this next question I think is perfect for Steven, who also is on PHNX Mercury. This comes from Eric with a C. So close with the right spelling there. Eric says, why is there such a disparity between how the Mercury and the Suns organizations are being run when it's the same people at the very top in Ishbia and Bartlestein? What lessons can the Suns take from the Mercs' recent success?
So I think we talked about this a little bit last week, and I'm going to defer to Steven on this one, but I will just say, like, broad strokes, I think that they're hoping that this summer they took steps to becoming that type of organization like the Mercury. And for me, it starts with hiring the right people in terms of what they did with Nick Urin and Nate Tibbetts. They're hoping that Brian Gregory and Jordan Ott will be the equivalent on the Suns side of things. We could talk about the differences between the two leagues. Like, obviously, the NBA has a much bigger player pool in terms of 450 players. I think the W is like 150 some. So there's more room for success and for error in that margin. The W is different because the competition level, when you have that much talent on a lot fewer teams, is a lot more stacked. So it's kind of apples and oranges in that way, I think. But I do think that they're hopeful that they have the right GM in place. They have the right head coach in place. Now they're younger and can hopefully build it the right way, just like they did with the Mercury.
This could genuinely be an entire episode. However, to condense that to two things I think that stand out most. For one, there's been a culture that's persisted on the Mercury side of things that, outside of 3 years, just hasn't existed with the Suns in the after 2000s decades of play across multiple eras outside of the 7 seconds or less in the 2021 team that made the finals. The other big thing is the reach to international play and understanding how to leverage that as not just pieces that can fill out a roster, but pieces that can add value to everything that it is you're looking to establish and style of play and culture and pieces that fit around your best players. Those are the 2 steps I feel like that are the most, I guess, extracted from what the Suns have right now and what's persisted on the Mercury side of things.
Yeah, we'll see, because they were built relatively differently off the top, but now you look at the Mercury and they do have a lot of top tier talent, including MVP candidate Alyssa Thomas, and that's
just MVP.
And that's kind of what the Suns were trying to do in accumulating Beal and Booker and Durant. And obviously the CBA and the way the leagues are structured is a little bit different when it comes to accumulating talent and the penalties or the benefits of doing so. So even though it's the same sport, both leagues are set up a little bit differently, but I think the approach with the Mercury makes me feel a little bit more confident in what's going down this summer. Not that it guarantees success, but we have seen, that they know what it's like to take a winning basketball team and make it like good. And the Mercury were a winning basketball team and the winningest franchise in the Valley, and they've been able to continue at least some of that, obviously not as high at a level. But I think that's an interesting question. Eric with the C, we do appreciate that. Next question.
I say watch the games, man.
True.
True. Watch the games.
That's real. And watch PHNX Mercury,
yes,
that part
as
too.
well. Best Mercury coverage, best W coverage out there. Ed asks, on a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being the best, what number do you give the Suns management for their offseason efforts for roster construction for the upcoming season? Ed, boy, do I have an episode for you. Last week we gave our grades for Brian Gregory and every move that he made. How would we rank him on a scale of 1 to 10?
I would probably say like a 7 in that range. I think it was a good offseason in terms of that alignment they kept talking about, in terms of like there are very specific traits they targeted with this roster that they added in terms of their personnel. But I think a lot of people would probably put them 11th, 12th, 13th in the West. And anytime you go from having Kevin Durant and Bradley Beal to trading them for a lot less than you gave up to get them, it's hard to score much higher than that for me. So I'd probably say like a 7.
I'd give him an 8 because I did give Brian Gregory overall a B for his offseason moves. That would make it an 80 out of 100. So I'm going to stick with an 8.
Yep, same with me. I gave him a B, so it has to be at least an A or 8 out of 10.
If you want more deep dive into each individual move last Tuesday, so 1 week ago, Ed, we dove into and graded every single move and his overall performance. Highly recommend you check out that episode. That one was a lot of fun. Next question from Suns Reality Check. Said, what's the lowest number of wins you think the Suns could get while still achieving the things we hope to see this season with a book green balance, center play, developing youth, odds influence, and a defensive identity? This is a fascinating question. Great one from Suns Reality Check. Thank you.
Yeah, no, that's a great question. I maybe am a little bit lower than most. I would say around like 35. I still think you can see positive progress on all those fronts if they win like 35 games. And I know some people might be disappointed with that, but the West is a bloodbath. So I would say probably 35. I think most people might be closer to 40, but Steven, where are you at with that question?
Yeah, my challenge for them this season is 40, to go and get 40 against the odds, against numerous odds. I think they could creep by 35 as the number I had in mind. And I laughed at saying 35 when, if you're into numerology and all of the things that numbers entail at times, Durant leaving, obviously he was number 7 for the Suns, but for a majority of his career, number 35, one MVP wearing 35. Then you see him leave, and then that's the number.
I don't get it.
I don't think it's a coincidence.
And they won
That's
36
because you're not
last
a
year.
nerd, Eric.
That's true. Numbers confuse me.
Yeah.
Numbers
Put
are
the
hard.
3 and then the 5 and get 35. Kevin Durant used to wear number 35.
And he used to. So,
There you
oh,
go.
yeah, no, thanks for that
36
one.
Unbothered.
Duh. Okay, but I think this is the interesting part of the question is, if all the things we hope to see this season happen, that means basically everything is going right for the Suns, which means I think that you're looking at 40-something wins if everything goes right. If we see everything, now if we get a couple of those things, then yeah, which realistically I think we will, somewhere in the 30s, right? Which is about where we all had them. But if everything goes right for the Suns, Booker and Green can play well together. Jordanot has a great influence. Mark Williams plays healthy. Khaman Maluach is contributing. You develop your youth in Ryan Dunn and Oso Ighodaro. That means they take a leap. Rasheer Fleming plays. Maybe Kobe Brea plays. A defensive identity. I mean, this is a team where if we're talking about all those things playing out correctly, somewhere in the 40s, I think is realistic if that happens, which is unrealistic for that to happen, if that makes sense.
No, that makes sense. And I think most people, like Ted Offensive said, Suns have to win at least as many as last year, 36 plus. I think that'll probably be most people's barometer because when you only win 36 with Kevin Durant, if you get to that mark or anything above that, I would consider the season a success comparatively for sure.
And not all wins and losses are equal either, right? Like if the Suns are super competitive and fun, but they lose by like 3 or 4 points a couple of games that could have swung the other direction and they drop down into the 30s, I think a lot of people would prefer that versus the Suns look terrible but luck their way into a couple extra wins.
The context is important because that 2013-14 team that won 48 games and just missed the playoffs, that was a phenomenal season. The Suns team that won 49 games and got swept in the first round, we all said it was a terrible season. So the context and the trajectory and expectations all play into this. So yeah, 36 wins for this year's team would not be the same as 36 for last year's, for sure.
I agree. And not only the wins and losses, what people will be keeping an eye on, but of course, as the next trade deadline approaches, there will be names that the Phoenix Suns might be rumored to get and should be monitoring. We're going to go over those, plus all the rest of your questions on a Mailbag Tuesday here on PHNX Suns. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and stick with us right past our first break. Easiest ad read I've ever had in my entire life. Would anybody like weed for 50% off?
Sure.
50.
That's a lot.
50% off weed.
That's like half.
At Zen Leaf dispensaries. I'm suspending my disbelief because this is insane. 50% off weed at Zen Leaf dispensaries, your go-to spot for cannabis, flowers, vapes, edibles, and more. Again, it's the easiest ad read of all time. It's 50% off. Listen, it's a one-time thing, so make it count. Use code Zen PHNX. That's Zen PHNX for 50% off just for listening. That's so easy. So the next time you're pre-gaming, post-gaming, or just need to chill after a rough week, don't forget to use promo code ZenPHNX for 50% off a one-time purchase. Zen Leaf. Great weed, great service, every single time. Also, love telling you about our friends over at Branded Bills. I was at the Arizona State Week 1 game against Northern Arizona University on Saturday, and everywhere I looked, I saw Branded Bills hats because not only are they stylish, but they're comfortable. I got some new ones I added to my collection last week, and if you are looking for some gear to stand apart from the crowd, well, Branded Bills is the place for you. Whether you need snapbacks, truckers, fitted beanies, or tees, Branded Bills has you covered with performance and style. They have partnerships with 40 universities, including your Arizona State Sun Devils that are number 12 in the nation after week 1. They partner with the Phoenix Suns, and they can partner with you. Get your own custom gear like we have over here at PHNX that I'm rocking all the time. A local company, and we love supporting local. Out of Mesa, Arizona, head to brandedbills.com. Use code BBPHNX for 15% off your first order. Big shout out to Ted, Generational Hater, Sean, Boom Shakalaka, Kara, Good If It Goes, and everybody, including Nate, joining us here on a Mailbag Tuesday edition of the show. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit that donate button as well. You guys ready to talk about next trade deadline?
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, let's do it. Okay. This next question is from Aiden. Thank you, Aiden. There is a couple questions from Aiden. They ask, if Royce and Grayson are on the trade block at the deadline, who are some guys the Suns could look at getting back while staying under the first apron? So I was up late last night and I was just thinking about some random stuff. And I think this will be a fun little exercise for us because we're going to focus on mainly Grayson and Royce, but also who are some players that if maybe they have a poor season, the Suns can swoop in for a low value. How would the contracts line up? So I've got some names that I'll run by everybody, and some of them unrealistic and some of them more realistic. Sound like a plan?
Yeah, let's do it.
So let's say the Milwaukee Bucks are not doing so great over in the Eastern Conference without a true point guard, and they're looking maybe to get another guard in the rotation that can shoot. Money-wise, Grayson Allen for Bobby Portis does work, and Bobby Portis, if the Suns need a starting power forward, could fill that role. How do we feel about a Grayson Allen and Bobby Portis swap?
I have mixed feelings about it. I think if you need a definitive answer at the 4, it might make some sense. We've gone on record as saying that we think that Grayson's shooting is going to be really important for this team, just because a lot of the shooters are unproven on this roster or younger guys. So I do want to hold on to that. But Portis is a good three-point shooter in his own right. He's not Grayson Allen, but he's a reliable pick-and-pop big. He's an experienced vet. I personally, I don't know if I would go for this unless the need for a 4 was kind of dire. Because how old is he now? He's getting up there.
Yeah, he's in his 30s. He's also going to save you about $3.4 million. Okay. He's extended over the next 3 years as well. So he's under contract control, and he would be your only stretch big option, at least until maybe Khaman Maluach shows. How do you feel about that, Steven?
I wouldn't be mad at it. Bobby, I wonder what it's going to look like for Bobby if he doesn't have a Giannis roaming around him, if he doesn't have a Drew Holiday at the point of attack, if he doesn't have a Brook Lopez that's roaming around in the paint in some capacity, because he wouldn't have either one of those things with the Suns. So what does his defense look like, and what does the impact there look like on a team that doesn't have that type of defensive infrastructure?
Yeah. Another name, Malik Monk, also works. Now, Malik Monk makes a little bit more than Grayson Allen, but that does work in the trade machine straight up. We know the Kings are shopping Malik Monk. It would be another guard that can shoot for another guard that could shoot, but Malik Monk's game is a little different than Grayson's.
Yeah, I might be okay on this one. I know that Malik Monk he's 27, so I think he's a little bit younger than Grayson, who's like 29, if I'm not mistaken. But I would probably rather just keep Grayson at that point. I don't know if that's an outlier opinion. Steven, where are you at?
For Malik Monk, if you got Jalen Green, nah. That's too much.
It's too much
of the same.
A lot of overlap there.
Yeah.
Here's an interesting one for the Suns. Let's say that maybe the season isn't going great. They want to accumulate some future assets and they take on maybe a worse contract. How about Royce O'Neal for Mike Conley and either a second round or multiple second round picks, depending on where both teams are? Mike Conley is under contract for only 1 more year after this season. Royce is under contract for another 3. The Suns would be doing that to gain some draft assets and add a veteran to the roster.
That's not bad. I don't mind that one at all. I think Royce might become superfluous if one of these younger 4s like Nigel or Rasheer or Ryan Dunn proves themselves in the rotation. And I do think like Mike Conley, if Colin Gillespie doesn't step up like we're anticipating, or if he gets injured, because he has dealt with injuries early in his career, and you need a point guard who can play on or off the ball, Mike Conley's an experienced guy who would be great for your locker room, great veteran for a lot of the younger guys. And, he's not the same Mike Conley he was even a couple years ago, but he can still be a spot starter or a guy coming off your bench. So I like that one.
I'm not mad at it.
Okay. How about this? Let's say Orlando still needs more shooting outside of Desmond Bane. Would you give up Royce O'Neal and a second-round pick, the only second-round pick the Suns have to trade, for Wendell Carter Jr.?
I would imagine you'd have to have something else lined up with your center rotation, since you would have like 5 centers at that point if you made that trade. But I wouldn't mind taking a flyer on him if Mark Williams goes down with injury and Maluach doesn't look ready, and Nick Richards, maybe you have a separate deal lined up for him. I wouldn't hate that. I don't know what Orlando would be doing with that type of trade, who they would be looking at center at that point, though.
Goga. And if Paolo maybe plays a little more.
Yeah.
5 for them.
Yeah, I don't know why they would entertain that one, not getting a center back in the exchange, but I mean, if they're gullible enough to do it and dance with you, you go ahead and take that dance for sure.
Hey, here's something the Phoenix Suns might try doing. How about trading with the Charlotte Hornets? Grayson Allen for Collin Sexton does work straight up, even though Sexton does make $2.1 million more than Grayson Allen. He's under contract for 2 less years at just next year as well at $18,975,000. You're trading a guard for a guard, but 2 very different guys. Sexton for Allen. How do we feel about that?
I mean, you're getting a better individual scorer, but beyond that, I don't really care for this one. I think if you're targeting that one spot, it needs to be more of a pass first point guard than someone who, again, has that kind of overlap with Booker and Green.
Yeah. Just on that very See, same time is good if it goes.
Okay, how about this one? Grayson Allen for Keldon Johnson. Nearly identical. Suns will take on $0.6 million more. He's under contract for 2 more years at $35 million over those 2 years, opposed to Grayson's 3 years for $54 million. How do we feel about a Keldon Johnson, Grayson Allen swap?
I'm lower on Keldon after the last couple of years, but I do think if you're trying to get younger and turn Grayson into a flyer, that would be one that makes some sense. I do think Grayson can help you a lot more this season and maybe next season than Keldon will.
I also think the Spurs might want that shooting.
They definitely would.
Around Wemby. How would you feel about that, Steven?
I wouldn't be mad at that one. I think Keldon still has questions, but opportunity and role-wise, next season might not bode the best in his favor because they have more pieces.
Right.
Knibble, or not, Knibble's not there, but they have Dylan Harper Jr., and then they have a ton of other wing players that are going to they're going to play a lot of 3-guard lineups, put it like that. That means that he's going to play less minutes unless they slide him to the 4. But they also still have players that are log jammed at that spot too. So might not be as much opportunity, might make them more inclined to see if they can get some other pieces in the room.
Don't need to spend a lot of time on this one. This is a non-Royce, non-Grayson one, but Nick Richards for Durant Holmes II technically works. And if Denver's in a spot where they need to compete and they need another center in the rotation, let's say Valanciunas doesn't work or he just got hurt in Eurobasket and Durant Holmes isn't ready, Suns could swap him for a flyer on a young guy that hasn't really had a chance to work out in Denver. And you mentioned gullible, Steven. The last one I'm going to bring, definitely the craziest, but stupid front offices do stupid things. Money-wise, Grayson Allen and Royce O'Neal does work for Trey Murphy III. I just want to put that out there. If he has a really down
where's
season,
the Michelle Obama snatch?
if he has a really down season,
Right.
maybe the Pelicans go selling on Zion and Trey and whatever and try to accumulate as much as possible. I'm sure they can get a better offer, but Joe Dumars is stupid. So there is that. He's a
Pistons
good
fan Noah
basketball
did
player,
not
Noah,
like
but
that.
he is a stupid general manager.
Agreed.
Okay, that's it. That is it. Those are some names that Grayson and Royce could fetch you at the trade deadline.
The 2 phones, Joe Dumars.
What's up, Noah?
I got one for you.
Hit me.
Grayson Allen, all right? This is going to be a shooter for shooter trade. Grayson Allen for Steph Curry.
Oh, dude. I don't know if the Suns do
And
that.
I think that makes sense.
You get a point guard.
We don't stay under the first apron, though. That's the problem. So I can't do that.
I had a couple.
Hit me.
I'm just throwing names out there. Mathematically, they work for most of them. I think all of them work for Grayson straight up. I think Royce works for a majority of them. Kelly Oubre Jr. Get a wing in the room that does a lot of things, brings a type of energy on the wing and versatility that helps to align with the culture they're looking to establish. Devin Carter Jr. because what in the world are the Sacramento Kings
Right.
doing at this point?
Yep.
And he's on a rookie scale deal, so you don't have to give up much of anything contractually. Jonathan Isaac, a wing that would match for Grayson roster for roster. Contract for contract. They want more shooting. You can get that done. Kobe White is another player who's going to be up for a new contract soon. I think he's making like 12 mil or a little bit over 12 mil. You can get to that number easily with either of those two. Maybe you loop in the third team to get that done. Spinning the block on old players that spent time with Jordan Knott. Isaac Okoro, another player that brings a high energy, EGB type of guy, energy generating behavior. He had some of his most success with Jordan Knott the last 2 seasons. Max Strus, in addition to that, him for Grayson would be an even swap if his shooting falls off for whatever reason. They have DeAndre Hunter now. So he's going to be kind of spending some less minutes on the court and things like that. Opportunity there to potentially see about that. Last name I'll bring up is Ochai Agbaji with the Toronto Raptors. I think that's a shooting guard piece that you could take a flyer on. You can get to his contract relatively easily as well.
And the Raptors are a team that I have no idea what they're doing as well. So
and they don't either. They just Masai Ujiri is no longer involved. So direction-wise, there's probably some remnants of pieces they might not necessarily want going forward that you might be able to poach away.
Yeah. I had Isaac, I had Agbaji, and I had Devin Carter. The other one that I will name is that we've all heard Jonathan Kuminga. We're going to be keeping tabs on that situation probably all the way up through February, as long as that discontent in Golden State remains, especially if he does play this season on his qualifying offer, because then his contract would qualify there.
That would be crazy if he did. He might. Nate, for you with our next question. Thank you, Aiden. A couple more of your questions coming up. Nate, for you in our Die Hard Discord, Become a Die Hard Today, says, if Jalen Green performs as well as he did in Houston or better this season, what is the likelihood that we attempt to trade him while his value is high before the deadline? If so, I also wonder if they will make adjustments to help pad his stats for this goal. Maybe tinfoil territory, but wanted to hear your thoughts.
TFT.
That might be tinfoil
territory.
TFT.
That kind of goes hard.
Might be TFT. Well, he would have to play better than he did in Houston last season for his trade value to go up, because I think his trade value was kind of what it was even after last season because of the playoffs. But I think if he plays too well, the Suns are not going to trade him. And if he doesn't play well, then it's kind of kaput because his trade value won't go up. So I've said this a couple times. I would be shocked if Jalen Green is traded by the February trade deadline either way.
I don't know if they trade him right now or as soon as his kind of stock begins to get back to where it was at its best last season. I think they're looking to try to establish things, and you don't establish those things without consistency. And a consistency in the roster, if not the full roster, a portion of it, is what helps teams get from here to quickly getting out of retool and back into playoff contention.
I think it's tough because if he's playing to this point where he can fetch you this massive haul, then he's playing awesome with Devin Booker, and you probably don't want to give up on that. It's kind of, it's a catch-22 for this team. I doubt they'll trade him this season. Maybe next offseason at the earliest.
Yeah.
And that would be some weird middle ground if he plays well enough to get another offer, but not well enough for you to commit your future to him with Devin Booker. Because if it gets to the point where somebody's going to be offering you a ton, it's like, do you just want to keep that young guy next to Book if it does work? And also it depends on what Book and what Jalen Green wants. But definitely interesting tinfoil territory there that we wandered into. Back to Aiden before we hit a break here. Says, what are the two players on the Suns you're most excited to watch play this season outside of Devin Booker?
Jalen Green and Mark Williams, the two biggest question marks. Can Mark Williams stay healthy? And if he does, what does that look like? And Jalen Green, how does he fit next to Book? Because he is a dynamic, exciting player, but a flawed one to this point in his career. So can he be more efficient? I'm excited to watch both of those guys play. I'll say Dylan Brooks and the rookies are obviously not far behind for me.
Mark Williams just missed the cut for, I guess, my top three. Jalen Green, because I'm all on players betting on themselves and people going against the grain and saying we don't believe in you, and then them getting a new opportunity in a new place to prove that wrong and to continue to build their stock as a 23-year-old. Nigel Hayes-Davis, I feel like he's a piece that adds a ton of value. Just did a film session looking at his game over this past weekend. If you haven't checked that out, once we get done with this episode, you can go on the same channel, find that in the recent videos tab, and about 15 minutes looking at his film. Another name I'm very interested in, also Iguodala. I feel like between him and Nigel Hayes-Davis, there's a lot of opportunity at the four to do the things that they bring on the versatility side on both ends of the floor that's going to help to balance out lineups and honestly create some potential new lineups for I to dip his toe in.
So
I want to shout out Rasheed Fleming as well.
So disappointed in all of you.
Yeah.
How did we get? You guys listed the entire damn roster.
Because we knew you was going to give it.
Except for Ryan Dunn.
Nobody's going to be more excited than you for that.
I mean,
so
but he's going to be starting. Presumably, he's going to be starting. Hopefully, he takes a slight offensive leap. I'm ecstatic to watch Ryan Dunn play because he also just brings a joy on the court. And I think the identity of this team is going to fit a lot more and bring out the best in him, and the coach will bring out a lot better in him. Obviously, Jalen Green at the top of that list. Let me throw a Colin Gillespie in there. Can you be the true backup point guard? Can you be so good that people are begging for you to start again? I mean, I think there are a lot of individual players that I'm excited to watch. Hopefully it actually brings some joy to me.
We didn't want to say Ryan Dunn because we wanted to give you your moment in the sun.
Oh,
given
thank
your
you.
skin tone, it can only be one moment in the sun.
You know, I saw this look in your eyes, and I'm like, Gerald's being too nice to me at the beginning of this statement. I'm like, something is going on.
I had to tee you up.
Yeah, you had all the calculations of that joke in your head, you nerd.
I did. Numbers-wise, it worked.
It did work numbers-wise. Leave it to you to be like, oh, one time, and if it goes over one time, then you carry the 2. We got more on Mailbag Tuesday right after our second break. Excited to watch all these new Suns players from PHNX HQ3, and Spencer's made it so much easier for us to do so by installing 4 brand new TVs in our viewing area. Oh, I'm so excited to watch Ryan Dunn dunk all over the NBA on all 4 televisions at once. I don't care if there's another game going on for another team. We're watching the Suns on all 4 TVs, and you can get your own TV and appliances from Spencer's and their 11 Valley-wide locations. They are employee-owned and operated, which is awesome. They have same-day and next-day delivery, and they're Arizona's largest independent appliance dealer with the largest selection of in-stock appliances. And these are big purchases with a lot of money. Why not save a little bit off of that using our promo codes? Use code PHNX5 for 5% off appliances, or use code PHNX10 for 10% off TVs, audio, and mattresses. It's like having a friend in the business. Visit spencerstv.com or any of their 11 Valley-wide locations today. Also, make sure you visit Phoenix Raceway for Championship Weekend, October 31st through November 2nd. You've got to mark this down on your calendars, because if you have not witnessed NASCAR Championship Weekend racing in person, well, you are missing out. I'm talking cars rolling by at almost 200 miles per hour, 4 champions crowned in 3 days, and with a small ticket upgrade, you are up close to the garage, meeting the drivers, walking the track, and catching the pre-race concert. It's the best value in sports, hands down. Guess what? It's also going on the road starting next year. It is your last chance to catch it in Phoenix for a while, so get in there, because tickets to NASCAR's Cup Series Championship race sell out every single year. Tickets, hospitality upgrades are still available. I'm going to get there eventually. Get yours now at the link in our show notes, and don't miss an incredible experience over at Phoenix Raceway, once again, October 31st through November 2nd. So we're just roasting me in the chat, huh? We're just
like the
bullying
sun.
me again this week, huh?
Is the sun in the chat as well?
Okay.
Steven hit him with the 7 seconds or less.
That's crazy.
That's
Let me
what got
also
me.
remind you that live PHNX Cardinals show over at Rally House coming up later this month. Make sure you go check that out on September 12th. It's PHNX Cardinals, and it's Rally House live from their Glendale location. A big season on deck for the PHNX Cardinals and their team. Make sure you come support out in person. And once again, hit that donate button for Big Brothers, Big Sisters of America. Help us raise $50,000 across all of All City for a very worthwhile cause. All right, we just went from Aiden's second question. Let's get to Russell's question. How many games do you guys think the following players start together? Jalen Green, Devin Booker, Ryan Dunn, Dylan Brooks, and Mark Williams. Of course, the presumed starting lineup to start the season.
So last year's starting 5 of Tyus, Beal, Booker, KD, Nurk, and we know that Nurk was traded midseason, but that starting 5 played a grand total of 12 games together. If you put Royce,
Games.
if you put Royce and Nick Richards in there, take out Nurk and Tyus, it was only 9 games. So I don't feel great about this. The season before, their starting 5 that was actually good together with Beal, Book, KD, Grayson, and Nurk played 35. So I'm going to say it's somewhere in the range of 30 to 35, especially since Mark Williams is part of that group, especially since we know Book, he's prone to miss 10, 15 games. And we don't know what might happen of trades. We don't know if Ryan Dunn's going to win the starting job. So I'll say 30, 35. Optimistically, it would be 40 plus, but I don't know that we'll get that.
I would say on the optimistic side, this is for the roster playing to the level that it needs to, the individual player. I mean, the lineup playing to the level it needs to, the individual players in the lineup doing so as well, and Mark Williams sustaining health with Devin Booker.
Mm-hmm.
The optimistic side is 55. That's a lot. That's a ton of games.
That'd
that means
fantastic.
that you struck gold on the health side as far as that goes. Don't know how realistic that is. I also am not sure if other players aren't going to budge their way and nudge their way and kick doors down to making it where you just have to roll the dice for starting them and seeing what that lineup pairing looks like because of how well they're playing. Looking squarely at Oso and Nigel Hayes-Davis, first and foremost, before anybody else. Throw Rasheed Fleming's name in there, too. I'm going to say 25. That's severely underwhelming considering I just got done talking about 55, but a lot of different pieces in limbo there.
I like what Good If It Goes says. Several games.
There you go.
There's a really low floor for this. I mean, there's a chance that, you know, again, injuries can happen with anybody. We all talk about, Mark Williams or even Devin Booker, who's had some uptick in injuries over the last couple of years. Jalen Green stayed relatively healthy, but like Ryan Dunn, Dylan Brooks, Jalen Green, like there's so many different options, and the Suns had, God, how many starting fives last year? And hopefully we don't get to that point. But there's a lot of moving factors. So, yeah, I will guess a strong 23.
One last Bud stat from last year's lineups.
Oh, no.
And I brought this up at the end of last year as well. Do you guys know how many games that Ryan Dunn started with the big three?
With the big three?
Yeah.
Well, considering he came in place of Bradley Beal, that window of time when he first began starting doesn't count. So I'm going with 0.
Give me 2.
0 is the correct answer.
I hate that guy. I hate that guy.
Okay, forget about starting. Do you know how many minutes that Ryan Dunn spent on the court with the big three last season?
Not enough. Less than 50. Is it 0?
It's 0
It's
again.
0.
Glad he's gone. Anyway.
As if there wasn't a piece that fit better on the roster with those 3 players than Ryan Dunn.
I mean, you literally had KD yelling at him saying, you need somebody who can guard.
The literal best lineups were with KD and Ryan Dunn on the floor defensively.
Anyway.
I don't want to rehash the whole.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Sorry. I couldn't
Listen,
resist.
there's a lot riding on Jordan Ott, but I cannot imagine a lower bar to clear in your first year coaching.
To your point and to my point, I can't imagine what he would have done or at least tried with the roster with that top end firepower.
Yeah.
Especially having a few complementary pieces. Wouldn't have been the best in the world, but to have not even considered seeing what you could get out of those lineups.
Insane.
But you got to put Ryan Dunn in for the last 5 seconds for a defensive possession at the end of the half against the Spurs. You have to do that.
And do it again against the Rockets.
And then to start them and be like, yeah, I guess. And then double down. Let's triple down with questions from Aiden. This one goes, how can Maluach earn the position of backup center, assuming we move on from Richards or put Maluach's development first? I think we kind of tweak this and say, even with Nick Richards on the roster, what does Khaman Maluach need to do to cement himself as the certified backup center, even if there is another center on the roster, Nick Richards, who would be getting those minutes?
For me, it starts with getting stronger, both on the ball and just being able to bang bodies in the paint with some of these bigger guys. Like, I think we saw him get lodged off his line quite a bit when he was handling the ball on the perimeter. He won't be doing that as much, I don't think, but he's got to get stronger. He's got to be good in the pick and roll, finish well around the basket, be semi-switchable on defense, protect the paint. Knocking down the occasional 3 wouldn't hurt, but I think we're all in agreement that might take some time to come about. So if he just does the basic things rim to rim on both ends, I think that'll put him in a better position to earn some minutes.
Eric.
Can I say something really stupid?
Sure.
He's just got to play better than Nick Richards.
I mean, that's fair.
Like, you know, there are things that we want for like the long-term development and whatnot. If he's better than Nick Richards, then he will cement himself as the backup center.
Yeah.
Obviously, Oso gets thrown in there as well. But protect the rim and finish around the rim. Those are probably the 2 things that if you can do that at a really high level, you're most likely going to be getting minutes over Nick Richards. Like, it's not like he has to overcome Nikola Jokic here.
Right.
Let's just be honest with ourselves.
Yeah, that's true. For me, he has to be stronger with the ball because I do feel like they're going to use their front court pieces to connect things, but also be point of attack initiators. So not necessarily running an offense, but you get the ball to your big, and that triggers a dribble handoff or a screen into a handoff or handoff into a screen or a dribble out in the corner and someone has the option for a backdoor or coming off of that handoff. I think they're going to lean a lot into those so that it's not so latent on Green and Booker to do so much of the initiating. So being stronger with the ball for sure. Setting solid screens. I can't sing that from the heavens enough. You can't be effective as a center in the NBA if you're not setting screens. And take the shots that you are going to be conceded. Because he's not a post presence that's going to be walking switches down to the block to force them to make a rotation or double team him. If he's getting switched, he has to be able to knock down the shots that he is being conceded on catch and shoots. If he's not doing that and he's being someone that's helped off of and then also being switched whenever he does set screens, what impact is he providing to you on offense?
Don't get picked on, right? Don't honestly, don't look like an 18-year-old out there, which might be hard for him, or who knows, maybe we're all kind of sleeping on him and Summer League was Summer League and he's developed and moved on. I do expect him by the end of the season to be the backup center for one reason or another. I just think he's going to have to get some sort of burn this season without a ton on the line for this team. Another question from Nate in our Discord, thank you, Nate, said, whose poor performance this season would be the biggest detriment to the Suns' future? Whose peak performance would be the biggest boom to the Suns' future? Both questions are thinking beyond just this season.
I mean, the real answer for biggest detriment would be Devin Booker.
Yes, agreed.
If he doesn't play well, building around him is going to look a little bit rougher in retrospect. But beyond that, like I think it's Jalen Green, Khaman Maluach, and Mark Williams are the three that I'm looking at. And then in terms of biggest boon, I think Ryan Dunn and Osa Ighodaro are two guys that I'm looking at there.
As far as poor performance and detriment, Mark Williams. For health purposes, for skill development and growth purposes, showing more, proving more in a sustained manner. At his best, he can get 24 and 14 in any given game, get 5 assists with that, block 4 shots with that. But then the next game, is it 10 and 2 in 34 minutes played? And the impact isn't there, it isn't felt. So I think Mark Williams matters with that. Colin Gillespie is being called to task. Opportunity is there. If he, depending on what he does with it, if it's not to the level, you have to depend on more Booker and Green lineups, time spent on the court together than you expected because of that. What does that look like for the rest of the team? And then as far as players that do better and boost things going forward, also is one of the first names. Obviously, I'll leave the name for you to speak to. That's called A+ teammate, knowing your personnel. The other one I'll mention, and I'll continue to say it, is Nigel Hayes-Davis. I feel like he brings things unique from anybody else in that front court group, especially the non-center group of players. If he hits the way that he needs to, even if it is just as a super sub and not necessarily a starter, that changes a lot for them lineup-wise.
I will say Ryan Dunn, but to be honest with you, the answer to both is Jalen Green. Because, and Khaman Maluach thrown in there as well, but on the good side. The bad side, he's a project. Jalen Green, if he's really, really, really good, that makes building around Devin Booker in his prime a lot easier, and the post Devin Booker era a lot easier. If Jalen Green's really bad, this franchise now has another offseason of talking about should they trade blah, blah. There's not clarity, right? Unfortunately, it is Jalen Green for both answers, but I think Ryan Dunn and Khaman, therefore, if they go boom instead of bust, that does wonders for the long-term future of this franchise. But at the end of the day, it's everybody. Right? Everybody kind of plays an integral role beyond this season on this team. You can't really look at a lot of these guys and say, oh, well, you're just like a one-year guy. If somebody really sucks, that's going to set this team back a little bit. And if somebody's really good, it's going to put them in a great position.
Question for y'all. So based off of the ways that we've seen this particular accolade get voted on season by season, how realistic and what would the leap need to look like for Jalen Green to get most improved recognition? Because he averaged 21 last season. Was not his career high. He's averaged 22 in his sophomore season. So what is it? What would he need to improve on for y'all if y'all think he could stake some claim in the most improved race?
He'd have to actually be their point guard for me, honestly, and do well with it, and probably average around like 26, flirt with all-star territory. Maybe Book gets injured and he plays really, really well as the lead guy, but it would take a lot, especially as a guy who's already averaged 20 basically throughout his career.
His entire career, he's basically had the same averages. It's got to be 26 points per game because whoever's going to win is going to have about a 5 point per game
at least
jump. So he's going to need to do that. And the Suns will probably need to be better than expected, or else people aren't really going to care as much. But we care about your questions for this. As Sean puts it in the chat, Telegram Tuesday. And Telegram Tuesday will continue right after our final break. Hey, get it? I like shade. You get it? Because I'm pale, get it? All Pro Shade Concepts is the best place to help you get some shade so I can come hang out with you at your place. With a custom fit awning, hundreds of designs and colors to choose from to match any home. Roll down patio shades, block out the sun, and keep that patio up to 20 degrees cooler, which in the middle of the summer in Arizona is a massive deal. 90 in the shade is a big difference than 110 in the sun. Trust me, from a shade expert right here. They can replace or fix most old or outdated patio shades and motorized awnings, plus you can trust them. That's really the big part. Voted #1 by Ranking Arizona for patio shades in 2024, an A+ Better Business Bureau rating, and over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google. In business for 20 years in the Valley, licensed, bonded, and insured. Call 623-204-1476. That's 623-204-1476, or visit allproshadeconcepts.com right now to schedule your free estimate. And we all know me. We know that I bleed DFCU blue, baby. And they want to give you $200 for free.
That's good.
Yeah, I'm just going to let that sit.
What do you have to do?
$200 for free. Oh, all you have to do is just open up a free checking account online.
Ooh, I can do that.
That's literally it. And you can trust them in business in the Valley for over 84 years. They got checkings and savings accounts, the basics, but then beyond that, of course, mortgages, loans, credit cards, investment options, and more. Join a credit union that is committed to giving back to the community and sharing success with its members. Every time I've had a question, that's a crazy comment, that review guy. Every time I've had a question about my finances, DFCU has been there for me as our camera goes out, because our camera is not there for us. When you open up a free checking account online, get $200 in bonuses. Get started today by visiting desertfinancial.com/200. That review guy is saying, is Eric giving birth to a phone right now? It sure looked that way. Now, didn't it? But I did move it.
He said, what you're not going to do is tell me what I didn't see.
Yeah. Listen. Yeah, we had to cut to black to get that out of there because we could not show the people that.
Sopranos did it.
That's rated R. Let's go ahead and get another question here up on screen real quick as our old producer Noah is now put through the ringer with technical difficulties. Welcome back, dude. This one coming from Eric with a C, saying Kobe Bryant seems to be getting a lot more attention than our other two-way contracts this season, and rightfully so. Will the Suns try to give him a standard contract this season? Will he stick around for more than one season if not?
I would be surprised if he's not given a standard contract before the end of the season. And even if he doesn't, like, the Suns are in the driver's seat because players on two ways become restricted free agents after the season over. So they could match any offer for him. They would be in the driver's seat to extend him or not extend him. And to be honest, he'd really have to be pretty bad if they just let him walk after being on a two-way as a restricted free agent. So I'd imagine he'll be in Phoenix beyond this season, and I imagine before the end of the season's over, they'll bump him up, whether it's because they have injury. Like, we've seen multiple two-way guys over the last. Collin would have been bumped up last year if the Suns had made the playoffs. So maybe that's the only reason he wouldn't, but I'd be surprised if he doesn't.
Yeah, I think Kobe is going to be around.
Mm-hmm.
Will he get converted off of the two-way to a standard contract this season? I don't know if the opportunity is going to be there.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying that he should get minutes in place of Grayson, but if an opportunity trade-wise that they just can't resist presents itself, some of the names we talked about earlier in the episode, naturally not having a front court or a backcourt rotation that has one shooter and that shooter's name is Devin Booker, bringing in someone like Kobe, and I imagine if he's up to par with where they hope for him to be at, would kind of give them a little bit more of a reason to do a trade like that. You naturally give them a role and opportunity. It's not going to be Grayson's playing 25 minutes, so you're getting 25. You might start off with 7 or 8, see what you can handle from there. conditioning wise, physicality wise, if you can hold up to that, you can incrementally increase that. But I think that would be the most natural way for that to happen at this moment.
I'd be floored if Kobe Bryant is not with this organization after this year or the next couple of years. That's a guy that they really like. I think the fact they got him on a two-way was just more to build the roster around. I think if they had a choice, they would want to keep him on a standard contract, but I think it actually plays in their benefit. They get the two-way because I think he's going to spend a lot of time in the G League working on some of the other parts of his game on the margins that he needs to work on.
Also depends on luxury tax stuff. They do have an open roster spot as of right now, but they're flirting with that luxury tax line and they need to get below it by the end of the season. And I think that might be something they're looking at. So,
Leo, we're looking at your question next. Says, who will win the Dan Majerle Hustle Award?
it's got to be either Dylan Brooks or Ryan Dunn, right?
Colin Gillespie, I think, is he's
kind of a dark horse.
He's at the table. Yeah. You know, he's just a real gritty, first in the gym, last out, hustle, just understands the game, plays the right way kind of guy, you know?
Yeah. I see what you're doing. I got to go with a starter, though. And I think Ryan Dunn has a chance by the time his career's over to be the Suns all-time leader in Dan Majerle Hustle Awards, because he just won it last year as a rookie. So he's off to a good start.
I think Collin is going to have a lot to say about that.
Mm-hmm.
And again, it depends on how much of a runway he's given.
Mm-hmm.
But naturally, the more Nigel Hayes-Davis plays, the more you're going to see his multiple efforts. Might not find another role player that's diving into the crowd and diving for loose balls and doing all of those ancillary things that has the skill level that he has, to where he doesn't have to do those things to get minutes, but he still does it because that's just his character. Blue collar guys, they got multiple guys that strike that, and he's one of the pieces that does it.
That review guy is saying Fleming, honorable mention, and Nigel Hayes-Davis.
I think whichever one of those two gets more minutes on average will stake more of a claim in the Dan Majerle Hustle Award.
What if Jalen Green starts playing some good defense?
I don't know if he's the type that's going to be diving into the crowd, though.
Hey, man. Maybe he has something to prove.
Maybe.
It's probably going to be Ryan Dunn. I feel like Dunn is going to be the guy for that. But we'll see. Hopefully when the season starts, maybe we should give out individual Dan Majerle Hustle Awards of the night.
Oh, God.
And then tally them. Wait, and then tally them at the end of every game, right?
I want to do it. That's literally how I come up with who's capable or who fits the criteria for a blue collar boy. So if you really want to do that,
blue collar boy rankings. We're gonna request a graphic.
There you go.
Blue collar
blue
boy
collar
of
the night. That's cool.
Yeah,
That's cool too.
Or blue collar man.
That works for me.
Merman.
Come
on, Zoolander.
Okay. Next question here from Kim, asking, can the Suns be a little less loud? Could the Suns have a few sensory nights when families with kids, people with sensory issues, neurodivergence, and adults who just love basketball can sit and enjoy the game at a decent decibel level without all the flashing lights everywhere? It takes so much away from the game. Just test the market out. You'll be surprised at how many millennials and their kids don't want to wear noise-canceling headphones. Thank you. Well, I get what you're saying, Kim, and I see that there would definitely be people that would love that, and there would be a market for that. Realistically, I don't know if the Suns would have a night for that, but maybe. We'll have to see.
Yeah, I don't know if an NBA team would ever successfully market a game that way. Maybe you could do a silent disco game. That'd be fun, but I don't know. That would be a little tough. Yeah,
I think logistically that's really hard to strike that balance and not throw off the product of everything that's happening on the court.
We'll say, though, we do agree that the in-arena experience for the Suns,
I can't say it enough,
cannot
say it enough.
Defense.
Defense.
Every possession.
Hey, play that defense.
Steve Kerr was right. I know Steve Kerr struck a chord with many people. Steve Kerr was right.
Yeah.
Almighty Joe with a question that tugs at my heartstrings. This one's tough. Eric and Gerald, would you switch your loyalty from ASU to U of A forever if it meant the Suns would win a championship?
As the objective beat writer, I'll say no, but I can defer to you on this, Eric. Suns championship, brother.
I know, but I said this in front of Totri, and he said, whatever you say, we're going to clip and play it on the ASU show.
So okay.
Like, that's the thing is, like, man.
That's tough. Two allegiances. clashing before you.
Okay, wait. So can I say something that we can clip for the ASU show, and then I'll say another thing
just
afterwards?
do a canned
There's
response.
no way in hell that I'm trading my allegiance for anything. I am loyal to the bone. I will never rep U of A. I will always rep ASU. I would never switch anything. Okay, clip that for the ASU show.
Mm-hmm.
And then, yeah.
Yes, he would.
The Suns, they're my baby.
Yep. You wore a Sun shirt today, not an ASU shirt.
Like I am an ASU guy.
Mhm.
I am through and through an ASU guy. The school down south repulses me.
Mhm.
I'm a Suns guy. Like, yeah, I can't do
It's
this
tough.
anymore. I'm sorry.
It's fair.
I'm sorry. I'm disappointed my family.
Let's go to another question where you have to kill one of your babies.
Awesome. Almighty Joe just really wants me to cry on this Telegram Tuesday edition of the show. If you had to erase one of the all-time greats from this franchise's history to ensure the Suns win a chip, who would it be?
There's a very obvious answer, but I'll let you guys go first.
It's Kevin Johnson.
Yes.
It's Kevin Johnson.
That we all on the same page. Cool.
Okay,
That was quick
moving
and
on.
easy.
Full-chested Kevin Johnson. Moving on.
Yeah, moving on. Thank you for the question, Almighty Joe. That one was a layup.
I got one. Devin Booker.
No,
Go
go back to
away.
Cardinals. Go back to Cardinals. Okay.
Betraying Michigan like that.
Crazy.
Pat Cat with our next question from our Die Hard Discord. A lot of these, actually, I think all of these remaining are from our Die Hard Discord.
I think Pat Cat either is in Australia, is
Yes.
Australian, something along the lines of that. So either way, we appreciate you.
Yes.
Pat.
Thank you, Pat Cat. As for each of you, you have entered a multiverse in which the Phoenix Suns have won an NBA championship last season for the first time. Phoenix is on a high and everyone is loving life as a Suns fan. However, the team in this multiverse has changed in a way which you can personally not support and you cannot be happy about the victory. What is it that changed which you cannot get behind?
What are you gonna say?
I mean, there's a lot of different ways.
Oh yeah.
A lot of different ways. But I want to remind everybody that's watching on TV that the party does always continue with these riveting, sad questions over at gophnx.com, where you can also read all of Gerald's articles and become a diehard today for just $36. I don't know, they use like child labor to build a new arena. That would suck.
Finals MVP Miles Bridges.
Yeah, Finals MVP Miles Bridges.
Mhm.
There are a lot of things that they could do.
Yeah, we can't go into that too
I'm a
far.
sports fan for sure, but
Mhm.
like I'm not a guy that turns like a blind eye to like the morals side of things.
That's correct.
So yeah. If it's lots of racism, lots of sexism, bigotry, things of that nature, yeah, I'm not a fan of that.
I think that's fair. Steven, anything to add?
I'll keep it basketball. That 3-for-3 swap. And I'll leave it at that.
3-for-3 swap.
Yes. One number 3 for another number 3.
Okay. All right. Next question from Sean, who says, Gerald, you can steer this question. It's a two-parter. After Gerald explains what a Bogart is. Bogart is. I've watched Harry Potter. Sorry. What form would each PHNX member say theirs would take? And which houses does Gerald think he and the guys would be sorted into individually? And this same Mike says, I want to know what houses Booker and the rest are in as well.
Okay, so a Bogart, for those not familiar with Harry Potter,
Dude, you can't say that.
is it what?
You can't say that.
Stop it. So a Bogart is it's a monster that transforms into, it can sense your deepest fear and transforms into that. So it's basically the living embodiment of whatever you fear most. So my personal Bogart, I face it every single day when I open Twitter in the morning. I'll leave it at that. What would your personal Bogart be?
It's like this weird morphed combination of Luka Doncic and Shohei Ohtani.
Bro, what?
That's what you fear the most.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, death. I fear death, ironically enough.
So
So
death.
somehow like the Grim Reaper,
Okay.
a mirror, or like just a date That'd be ominous.
Just a day,
Just
a
a date.
countdown,
Just 5, 4,
calendar
3.
flipping, and a marker circling a date.
I know what Stevens is.
No, you don't.
Me.
You have no clue.
It's me.
Yeah.
Steven,
Like I
what would
said,
your
you have
boggart
no
look
clue.
like?
My boggart, and you said to define it, is something that you fear.
It's your biggest fear, basically. It's
Yeah.
the embodiment of that.
Mine would be not reaching my full potential
Okay.
as a grown man.
Mhm.
Just who my family is, who my mom is, just not reaching my full potential comprehensively, not specific to profession
Mhm.
or career, but just as a man.
Actually, mine was you not reaching your full potential either. So
You guys
Appreciate
step in
it.
front and see the same thing. That's terrible.
Appreciate you.
All right. So, what Hogwarts house would I be sorted into? Either Ravenclaw or Gryffindor. I can be a little brash, and I think I'm a good guy like a Gryffindor. But let's be honest, I'm also a little bit of a nerd. So Ravenclaw. Might
you don't
be
think
the
you're a
one.
Hufflepuff?
Absolutely not. Hufflepuffs are
My
kinda-
bad, my bad, bro.
No,
my bad, bro.
those are the dumb
I thought
but
you made
loyal
that up.
ones. They're the golden retriever house of
My bad.
Hogwarts.
My bad, bro.
I thought you made that up. I don't know what that is.
Hufflepuff. All right, what's Steven?
Steven would probably be Ravenclaw, I think.
I don't
Ravenclaw?
wanna know what
That's for
you
the smart
call
kids.
me. I don't know what you wanna call me.
Intellectuals.
The nerds?
That's what I said.
Okay.
What you would be Hufflepuff.
Oh, you suck.
No, because you're a bright personality. You are very loyal. I won't say you're dumb.
Wow. You know, like everybody, I see myself more as a Gryffindor guy.
That's fair. I think you could. Those were my two for you.
I could be a Slytherin. Not all of them suck.
Said I could be evil.
Not all of them suck. Some
Not
of them are
all
fine.
of them. Some of them.
I'm
yeah.
not. No,
Mhm.
I wouldn't be evil. I'm a nice guy.
So I made a list for just the starting 5 because we don't have enough time to go through the whole roster. But I think Booker's Gryffindor, the main good guy, makes sense. I think Jalen Green is Hufflepuff. I think Dylan Brooks is Slytherin. I think Ryan Dunn is Gryffindor, and I think Mark Williams is Ravenclaw. That's how I would go.
All right. From Almighty Joe. If the NBA was the Game of Thrones, which house should the Suns be, and who would the players' analogs from the show be? Example book is Jon Snow. I am going to leave this to you because I don't know.
Steven, do you have any Game of Thrones expertise?
Why don't we just give him the
You
one
guys
shot?
are killing me. Yeah, give me the one
Give
shot
him
here.
the
Okay.
one shot.
All right.
Steven, how are you doing, man?
So,
great, bro.
well, you
Yeah,
can't
man,
give me
I'm
the
doing
one
great.
shot if you're going to talk over me. There's
Welcome to
the
the
one
show.
shot. There it is. Yeah, that's fair. Welcome to PHNX Suns. All right, the Phoenix Suns would either be House Greyjoy because their words are "What is dead may never die," and you have to be slightly dead inside to still be a Suns fan at this point, or they're House Martell because Oberyn Martell was awesome, but he also got his head caved in when push came to shove, which is very similar to the Suns in the playoffs. And I think the Martells are also set in a very sunny climate. So that's where they would be. Again, I just did starting 5 for this. Devin Booker would be Jon Snow. Got a lot of potential. But Jon Snow actually doesn't wind up being king at the end of it. So hopefully Devin Booker's path is a little bit different. Jalen Green would be Theon Greyjoy, a guy who has a lot of potential and needs to live up to it at a certain point. Mark Williams will be Khal Drogo because he's a badass, but he goes down way too easily there. Ryan Dunn would be Arya because he's a young guy with a lot of potential in the future. And Dylan Brooks would be Jaime Lannister. Yes, he's an a-hole, but he's our favorite a-hole.
We lost 20 people during that.
Did we really?
Yeah, it's okay. Though.
Wow, people don't like Game of Thrones anymore,
No,
huh?
I know that the ending was bad.
It was.
I've seen 2 episodes of Game of Thrones. The last one and the battle that nobody could see. The really dark
That's really unfortunate. It was an all-time series until the last 2 seasons, but
battle.
I digress.
Moving on. Last one from Almighty Joe, something that Steven and I can participate in.
Here we go.
If you were going to compare this Suns team to your favorite album, what would that album be and why? For me, it's Donnell Jones' Where I Want to Be. Most people know the song Where I Want to Be, but a lot of people don't know there are some other songs on that album that could have been singles and that are great. Same thing with this team. We know Book is great, but I think we have some guys that can be great as well if given the opportunity.
That's a great question.
Yeah.
That's a fun question. I think the first album that came to mind for me would be Too High to Riot by Boz. And it's because for anyone that's listened, it's a sensational album, start to finish, touches on a broad stroke of topics.
Mm.
How many people have heard about it though? How many people know who the artist is?
Mm-hmm.
That's the answer right there. And if you do know about the artist, it's because of someone else who runs the label that he's a part of, which would be people knowing about teammates of Devin Booker only because of Devin Booker, not because of the individual. So That would probably be my answer.
Okay, I like it.
My current favorite album right now is Let God Sort 'Em Out by The Clips, and this franchise needs Jesus.
Wow. That's
Good Lord.
bro. How you?
That's insane.
So you, Gerald, you go ahead and go. Can you please think of another answer? That was so disrespectful. That's an album of the year candidate.
I know, bro.
When you talking about
I know.
the question was what it was.
Let God sort him out.
Not the title of an album, the actual album.
This team
You
needs
know what?
Jesus.
Lord have mercy.
This guy, surface level stuff.
I was going to say a word I can't say.
Yeah, go ahead. So for me, you guys probably don't know this band. I wore them today, the Wonder Years. This is one of my favorite albums. It's not my favorite album. And we fade to black again. Here we go. One shot.
They don't want you to talk.
The Upsides by the Wonder Years. Yes, the title obviously refers to the team getting younger, the upside that they could have, but it's basically just a very scrappy pop punk album by a young group that was first showcasing their potential before they went on to dominate the genre for years to come with more refined, mature albums down the line. So I'm hopeful that the Suns can follow a similar path where they start young, they scrappy, but this season kind of establishes like, oh, there is a promising future here. And then the seasons to come are going to be those more refined, mature albums that dominate a genre. So let's hope.
Okay. I have another answer.
Oh, do you?
Give me Because of the Internet by Childish Gambino. Kind of the same reason where it's like there's one or two songs on there that everybody knows and everybody loves. But when that album came out, people hated it. Mm-hmm. People did not think that was a good album. Mm-hmm. I like it. That's one of my favorite albums. And kind of like you said, Gerald, it's a guy that showed a lot of potential off at first and then completely matured and changed as his career went on. And hopefully the Suns can do that as well. And I'll be right by your side till 3005. Hopefully you win a championship before then. That's going to do it as our cameras start to give out for a Telegram Tuesday.
2005, according to the chat last week.
No, I'm not going to be here till 2035, according to chat.
No, 3 years gone.
Unfortunately for Charles in the chat, I will be here tomorrow. And so will PHNX Suns. We'll continue our offseason coverage. Thank you to all the true psychos and sickos who are joining us. I'm just going to turn here right on this one. You can follow the show at PHNX_Suns. That's on Twitter and on Instagram as well. Shout out to Noah behind the Mac, who was holding it down for us producing all last season. Now he's about to embark on a Cardinals season for the first time. Make sure you go show him love at Noah Wolbrecht. Get out of my shot, Gerald. Stick to Harry Potter and let me stick to outros. Big shout out to Noah, though, for filling in for the Freckled Mamba, who will be back tomorrow. And, of course, go support Noah over at PHNX Cardinals. You can follow Steven at StevenPG3. That's Steven with a PH because he balances us out. Let's give him the one shot for this one. You can follow Gerald at Gerald Bourget, nerding out, as always, that Hufflepuff that he is.
That's giving me game show whose free pub I will not be giving vibes, where their faces up there and they're talking about them for 30 seconds on a one shot.
Right. You can follow me at ERIKRUBY, especially as ASU's football season continues. Plenty of awesome coverage going on over at PHNX Sun Devils. So follow me for both Suns and Sun Devils, my two children who I clearly don't have a favorite for. We'll talk to you all tomorrow.
We all silly like the mayor.